This presentation is titled Human Connection, Staff Training Goes Online. Online learning is commonly found in higher education, but less so in the workplace. As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, office staff are now working from home, and staff trainers who have never taught online before must adjust with little or no support. During the SARS epidemic in 2003, Chinese university classes continued online, but at that time, working from home was not an option for most office workers. Fast forward to 2020, although employees have high-speed internet in their homes, they're used to working with the technology, that is the hardware and software, that they had in the office. They're now working on whatever technology they had at home prior to the outbreak, and that includes tablets, old laptops, or the shared family computer. Moore's theory of transactional distance suggests that when teachers and students are separated, teaching and learning are affected. It links three variables: dialogue, structure, and learner autonomy. When transactional distance is low, students are more engaged. Finding just that right balance of dialogue, structure, and learner autonomy reduces transactional distance. And one way that trainers have been striking that balance is through blended learning. Blended learning is a combination of traditional face-to-face learning and computer-mediated or online learning. Let's consider three types of learner interactions. There's learner content interaction, which is how learners connect with the information they encounter, learner instructor interaction, and learner-learner interaction. Learner-instructor and learner-learner interaction suggest human interaction. The literature on blended learning in the workplace reveals that while learners typically did not report a negative experience with the online modules, they had a much more enjoyable and positive experience when they experienced human interaction. The takeaway from the research on transactional distance and blended learning in the workplace is that employees crave human interaction in online learning and development activities. And as COVID-19 compels staff to shift to fully online training, they must keep in mind that human interaction is in demand more than ever before. Some trainers may be able to take advantage of the learning management system already in use by their organizations. Some commonly used LMSs are Brightspace or D2L, Moodle, Canvas, Blackboard, and Absorb. An LMS makes it easy to deliver training courses, but if the trainer doesn't have access to an LMS, she must still ensure the distribution of instructional materials, communication between participants, and access to learning resources. Instructional materials and content can be distributed through virtual classrooms like Google Classroom or Adobe Connect. Employees are working from home with varying technology. They can open PDFs with Microsoft Edge, but not all PDFs are accessible. Microsoft Word documents or HTML format is preferable. Short in-person training seminars can be replaced with virtual webinars using video conferencing applications like Microsoft Teams, Zoom, BlueJeans, or GoToMeeting. These offer a more professional functionality than basic apps like FaceTime and Skype, and even the participants who don't have a webcam can join via audio. Make sure you give the learners ample opportunity to ask questions and allow extra time at the beginning of the session to help troubleshoot technical issues. Set rules for the video conference, like how participants should signal that they have a question or comment and communicate the expectations you have for their participation. Research on blended and online learning in the workplace found that excessive text-heavy content caused fatigue for employees. The media must be engaging to the user. Incorporate engaging content. Use surveys and polls, screencasts, and audio recordings. And try online tutorials like Storyline 360 by Articulate or Adobe Presenter. Take care not to introduce technology, however, that is unintuitive or difficult for the participants to use. Remember, they don't have the same technology that you have or the technology they had in their offices, and they may get frustrated. This is not the time to try out a lot of new apps or suddenly start using gamification. Use familiar technology in innovative ways. For example, create a video presentation using Microsoft PowerPoint. Reliable strategies will work online as well as they did face-to-face. The research has taught us that online modules of blended workplace learning could be improved by adding human interaction. Online discussion boards, surveys, announcements, email, and social media are all ways that a trainer can incorporate elements of learner-instructor interaction to online training. Another way for a trainer to add authenticity and human interaction is to tell a story or introduce herself with a video or a live synchronous session. Encourage your students to make their own videos using Flipgrid or YouTube to introduce themselves. Learner-learner interactions should not be overlooked, as the research tells us that they are an important resource for decreasing transactional distance. Encourage participants to work in pairs or small groups. Adobe Connect, Zoom, and BlueJeans all have breakout rooms allowing students to work in smaller groups. During the SARS outbreak, it was reported that student discourse took place outside the discussion groups the teachers set up at that time through instant messaging, chat rooms, and text messaging. Likewise, with staff training in 2020, colleagues will communicate using modern methods. Online training must include learner-instructor interaction, and if possible, learner-learner interaction. Human interactions are positively correlated with learner engagement, and thus the effectiveness of the learning experience. As this self-isolation, quarantining, and social distancing drags on, it is more important than ever before that human interaction is adopted and built into online staff training sessions.